Hey there and welcome. Have you ever written something or maybe said something out loud and just had that feeling, that little voice in your head going, that doesn't sound quite right? Well, a lot of the time, the fix is this one simple, super powerful grammar rule. And once you get it, you'll sound more polished and confident like instantly. Today, we're going to unlock that rule, subject-verb agreement.
So, let me ask you, what's that one little rule that can give your English confidence a major boost? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today. It's a tiny detail, but trust me, it makes a huge difference in how clear and correct you sound.
And here it is, the big secret, subject-verb agreement. Now I know, that sounds all technical and maybe a little boring, but don't let the name fool you. The idea behind it is incredibly simple. Seriously, just think of it like a matching game. The subject of your sentence, the who or what, has to match its verb, its action word. If your subject is one thing, the verb is singular. If the subject is multiple things, the verb is plural. That's it. It's really that straightforward.
Okay, so let's dive in and start with the most important part, the basic matchup. If you can really get this core rule down, I promise everything else is going to be so much easier.
Okay, check this out. Can you see the pattern here? With the singular subject, like the boy, the verb runs gets that S on the end. But as soon as the subject becomes plural, the boys, that S on the verb just vanishes. They run. We see the exact same thing with he plays versus they play. The verb literally changes its shape to match how many subjects there are.
And this brings us to a really important little shortcut. I just call it the he, she, it rule. Anytime your subject is one of those three words, he, she, or it, you're almost always going to add an S or an ES to that verb. So, she writes, he goes, it works. This is probably one of the most common spots for little mistakes, but once you see that pattern, it's so easy to get right.
Which of course brings us to a super common mistake. I bet you've heard this one before. They plays cricket. Does that sound right to you? Your internal grammar checker is probably going off right now because you know the subject they is plural, right?
And yep, here's the simple fix. Since they means more than one person, it's plural. So the verb needs to be plural too, which means we just drop that S. They play cricket. Sounds so much better, doesn't it? And that's because it's correct.
All right, you've totally got the basics down. But, what happens when the subject of a sentence gets a little more complicated? Let's level up and look at a few of those trickier situations that can sometimes trip people up.
So, first up, what do you do when you have two subjects connected by the word and? Well, the rule here is super simple and it always works. You always use a plural verb. Ali and Ahmed, that's two people, right? So the subject is plural. That means they are friends. Think of it like this. 1 + 1 equals a plural verb. Easy.
But wait, what about the word or? This is where it gets a little different. When you use either or neither nor, the verb has to agree with whatever subject is closest to it. So in this sentence, the word friends is sitting right next to the verb. Since friends is plural, the verb has to be plural, are. If we flipped it around and said either his friends or Ali, then the verb would become is coming. See that? It's all about proximity.
And here's another special case you'll see all the time. Uncountable nouns. Words like water, milk, information, or advice. These are things you can't really count one by one. And in English grammar, we always, and I mean always, treat them as singular. So you'd say the information is correct, never are correct. Same thing with milk is good for health. Just remember, uncountable means singular.
Okay, theory time is over. We've gone through the rules. We've even looked at some of the tricky exceptions. So now it's your turn. Let's put what you've learned into practice with a quick test. Ready to play along? All right, here's the first one. She football. Should it be play or plays? Take a second, think about that he, she, it rule we talked about. And the answer is plays. That's right. She is a singular subject, so that verb needs an S. She plays football. Awesome job if you got that one. Okay, you ready for the next one? They happy. Is it going to be is or are? Just focus on the subject, they. And you got it. Of course, it's are. They is plural, so it needs that plural verb. They are happy. See? You're totally getting the hang of this. Okay, last one for our little test. The teacher, well, are we going to use teach or teaches? Think carefully about the subject here.
And the correct verb is teaches. So why?
because the teacher is a singular subject. We're just talking about one person. It's the same as saying he or she. The teacher teaches well. Fantastic work!
Wow, okay, we've covered a lot, right? From the real basics to some of those tricky cases. But if you walk away remembering just one thing from all of this, I want it to be this next point.
It all boils down to this one simple, powerful idea. Match the subject with the verb. If you can just keep that one little thought in your mind whenever you're writing or speaking, you will avoid so many common mistakes. Singular with singular, plural with plural. That's the game. So here's the final thought for you. Master this one rule. Practice it until it becomes totally automatic, and I promise you, your English is going to instantly sound more natural, more correct, and way more confident. It really is a small key that unlocks a much bigger door to fluency. So what sentence will you check first?